And good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world right now. This is John Kool-Aid Porter, and I am live here from Broomfield, Colorado. I am joined.
My name is Bam Bam. It is a pleasure to be here with all of you, and of course you, Kool-Aid, to announce for this wonderful game between the Gotham All-Stars and the 5280, the 5280 Fight Club.
Huge applause from the audience as the teams come in. You know what this is. This is Gotham. This is Rocky Mountain. This is 1 East versus 2 West. This is it, Bam Bam. Both of these teams have won a championship. Only one is going to be eligible, as one team will get into these semifinals and one team will be done. Let's go ahead and do Rothers skating today for the Gotham Girls Roller Derby All-Stars. Number 00, Anabolics. Number 10, Candy Cakes. Number 100, B Zerk. Number 2, Donna Matrix. Number 201, Sweet Sherry Pie. Number 241, Fisticuffs. Number 31, Hella Skelter. Number 340, Body Thunders. Number 404, Hyperlinks. Number 500, Papier Schneet. Number 55, Susie Hot Rod. Number 6, Wild Cherry. Number 68C, Sexy Slady. And number 753, OMG WTF.
For the Fight Club, 00s, Irkin Jerkin. 1972 is Echo. 202, Frida Beater. 21, Psycho Babble. 27, Deranged. 31, Fiona Grapple. 37, Bob Loblaw. 7423, Triple Shot Misto. 8, Winona Fighter. 86, Assault and Peppa. 88, She Who Cannot Be Named. Number 9, Amanda Jamadinia. 99, May Q Pay. 9 Uber Alice.
And coming to the jammer line, no surprise for anyone. Bonnie Thunders for Gotham and Deranged for Rocky Mountain.
As we can see, no one has an early advantage right now, as it looks like red caught up behind that wall of black, black behind that wall of red. Split rather nicely, chromatically, color-wise.
Both teams working hard against the hockey scrum here, Bam Bam. Remember, that is Gotham in the black, Rocky Mountain in the red. Coming into turn 4 with neither jammer having made any progress against the forewall of the respective teams.
Still both caught up. Jammers not having any luck getting past. Until.
Up through is Bonnie Thunders around for lead. Jammer Gotham. Deranged, though, moving through a quickly moving pack now. She's up front. She is out. Deranged out of the pack. Both jammers eligible to score points.
Pack had a little bit of excitement there. Bonnie Thunders was able to get out. You also see Deranged then almost able to take advantage of that, but very great regrouping from Gotham right away to get in front. Now you have both jammers out, just waiting to see first one to come into contact with the pack. It's going to be Bonnie Thunders.
It's a quick moving pack. Bonnie Thunders 10 feet and closing behind the pack. 30 feet behind her is Deranged. Here's Bonnie Thunders in, gets 1, maybe 2, and calls it off. 1 point. So after one jam, it's 1-0.
1-0. Well, that's what we were talking about a little bit earlier. It's interesting matchup where you have these teams where you have Rocky Mountains coming in with just 2 losses, both to Ole this last year, Gotham at none. But as you can see the action going again, who is going to make it? It looks like Bonnie Thunders right there around the outside, though very quickly Deranged almost able to take advantage of that. We get back to it.
We saw in that replay, Rocky Mountain left the outside lane open, and Bonnie Thunders so smart, so fast. She saw it and she's able to get it before Rocky Mountain could close it. We've got, again, no surprise, Susie Hot Rod on the jammer line for Gotham, and that is Irkin Jerkin for Rocky Mountain. Oh, Susie Hot Rod jumps the apex. She's through round. Lead jammer Susie Hot Rod for Gotham.
Well, out in front, Pack doing a nice job of holding back. Rocky Mountain blocker again. Rocky Mountain in red. You may have seen them in the black yesterday, but not to be confused. Rocky Mountain is in red today. Gotham is wearing the black.
Irkin Jerkin was able to sneak past Papier Schneet. Both jammers out 30 feet separating the jammers. Susie Hot Rod coming in full steam. Hits that back 4 wall. Irkin Jerkin in the pack now. Calls it off. I don't think either jammer. Rocky Mountain scored 1 point. We've got a tie game, Bam Bam.
Indeed we do. She came in very hot. Susie Hot Rod did not draw any kind of penalty on that, but she was very quick to get up to her knees, make sure that she saw where the jammer was, call the jam off, end it right there. So we are, again, 1-1, 27-30 in.
And we are, again, Bonnie Thunders versus Deranged. Bam Bam. You have to appreciate the referees right there. There was contact, but there was not enough contact to warrant a foul being called, and they did not call the foul. Good no call by the refs.
Looks like, again, that is Bonnie Thunders in the black, jamming up against Deranged in the red.
And again, a huge hockey scrum. We've got our first penalty as Donna Matrix goes for a major direction of gameplay and through for lead jammer, Deranged Rocky Mountain.
See if they're going to make an opportunity here as Bonnie Thunders is still caught up in the pack. Deranged very effective yesterday. A little heavy on the penalties. We'll see if that's going to come into play in the Gotham game as Bonnie Thunders gets a little bit of a break as it looms up into the pack, but still stuck in the middle of it.
And here's Deranged now coming in on a scoring pass past OMG. working on hyperlink. She's around, she's through. That is how many points? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Grand slam, Rocky Mountain.
As we can see, Bonnie Thunder still being caught up, being recycled again and again by Rocky Mountain crowd. Rather happy to see that. It's a bit of a home field advantage for Rocky Mountain. Bonnie Thunder's still trying to struggle if she can get around Amanda Jamadenia. I'm sorry, that is number 37, Bob Loblaw.
And here is Derange now on her second scoring pass. Hyperlinks forces her out. Bonnie Thunder's again still working on her initial pass. Very uncharacteristic of her to be held this long. Deranged is up, around, through. Gets another grand slam and then calls it off, Bam Bam, with still probably enough time on the jam there to sneak around for another try, but calls it off. And we'll do it again, but now a 11-1 lead for the girls in women in red versus the women in black.
Anik Boots, Reckless Wheels, and Moto Bearings. They are revolutionizing roller derby. That is Anik Boots, Reckless Wheels, and Moto Bearings.
All right, coming to the jammer line for the first time tonight for Gotham is Wild Cherry, number 6. And for the first time for Rocky Mountain, Frida Beater.
2 whistles get our jammers off the line.
Oh, wow. Sweet Frida Beater almost had the inside line, but the door was quickly closed by fisticuffs. And around is Wild Cherry, and she's out. Not lead jammer, though, Bam Bam. Minor back block on her way through the pack.
You can see she was very excited on your screen there, but she just did not get that. Frida Beater still may be in contention.
If she gets it, she'll need to call it off quickly. She's out. Frida Beater is lead jammer. Sees where Wild Cherry is. Excuse me, she's not lead.
It was called for a moment that she was, but there was a quick no pass, no penalty, so she is going to be deemed ineligible, so this one is going to go the full 2 minutes.
So Wild Cherry now in the pack on a scoring pass. Cuts, nice move from the out to in. Oh, good hit by Psychobabble there. Wild Cherry has to recycle all the way back, and here comes Frida Beater now. Both jammers on their first scoring pass.
Nice bit of work up at the front of the pack trying to gain control of that. Slayla was getting a little bit of contact with a couple of members from the Gotham girls. Nobody has actual control as I can see from this point, so it's just going to be a lot of work for our jammers. Getting pushed to the inside was Frida Beater. She's able to pop back out, though Wild Cherry has a little bit of an opportunity to move to the inside, but she runs right into the back of Amanda Jamadenia.
Big tumble there in turn 1, and that is a major block to the head. Yes, major block to the head on Frida Beater. Power jam now for Gotham. Excuse me, major forearm, but either way, power jam for Gotham.
Indeed, 30 seconds left. We're going to see if going to be any opportunity that Gotham can make of this.
So 23 seconds left in the jam. I have to imagine Wild Cherry's probably already scored most, if not all, of the 4 points that or 5 points that she's eligible for, but has been unable to finish her pass through the pack.
Waiting to see as the clock winds down if she's going to be able to get any points right now, as Rocky Mountain is at 11, 10 up over Gotham's 1.
Another strong hit there by Derange to force Wild Cherry out. She's got to recycle back. 2 minutes ends the jam, and that was 3 points for Rocky Mountain, 5 points for Gotham. Again, just what we saw, Bam Bam. Once you get a point, you do not lose it, but she could never finish a pass through the pack to begin a second scoring pass.
And we saw something not too dissimilar in the last game with Texas, where you had the jammer come through. A lot of people thought she'd gotten the 5, but it was just that continuing recycle that she was only able to get that 1. So the other side of the coin in regard to you get a point, you have to earn the point. As we see on the replay going right now, jammer in black trying to get around. Beautiful assistance hits coming through for number 21, Derange. Just points right there. She's out. Jammer's going to get off our way. It is Bonnie Thunder's in the black. Jammer in the box for red still has a little bit of penalty time to serve. Bonnie Thunder's just trying to work it out. Nice bit of move as Gotham just holds up. Have to let her go. Bonnie Thunder's is your lead jammer.
Gotham very quickly stops the pack there in turn 1. Bonnie Thunder's now up to the pack. Round through, working, shoveling her way up. Solid defense up front by Deranged. Psychobabble now going to the penalty box.
Jammer is in for Rocky Mountain. She still has to make that initial pass, so Bonnie Thunders does have some time. If she can get back around, she can still score. She now has 5 on that last pass.
Rocky Mountain's nemesis, the penalty box, starting to rear it as Deranged and Amanda Jamadenia going into the penalty box. Amanda for a major out of play. Frida Beater, though, as you said, Bam Bam, is out of the penalty box.
Bonnie Thunder's just taking her time. She knows she's got a few moments waiting to get some assistance from her teammates. She's able to get through edges and around the outside, hands to the hips. Calls it off for Frida Beater's even close.
Speaking of closely, Gotham Jammers quickly running closely to the Dr. Hauschka jammer line. Dr. Hauschka celebrates the fresh faces of the WFTDA. Check out their website at drhauschka.com and get your fresh face.
As you can see, we talk about Gotham was lining up. Bit of a replay, though, as Bonnie Thunders gets right around that. Nice bit of a stop. She's able to hold that momentum. She just pushes, leans up on that foot, checks where the other jammer is, just continues to play through.
So Erkin Jerkin coming back to the jammer line for Rocky Mountain against Susie Hot Rod. Strong hockey scrum up front. Susie Hot Rod comes through on the inside jump. She's lead jammer. Gotham, Susie Hot Rod.
Sometimes it does pay off to hold that line, exactly what you did.
And a major track cut on Erkin Jerkin makes this a power jam now for Gotham.
One of the secondary benefits, you can get your jammer through. You can also throw off the pace of the other jammers we saw right there. She makes a cut, goes to the box. Power jam for Gotham.
And that's a 5-point grand slam for Susie Hot Rod.
And with that, they take the lead. They have 20 points right now. Rocky Mountain at 14. Looking a little thin out there for Team Red right now.
Yeah, Deranged is going to the penalty box. Just as Psychobabble stands up, Deranged goes in. I did not see the call either way. We've got 2 blockers for Rocky Mountain, all 5 skaters for Gotham, and that's another grand slam for Susie Hot Rod. That is 15 points in this jam.
And it looks like, again, Rocky Mountain's getting sent to the penalty box. A little bit of miscommunication as to who it was. Psychobabble thought it was her. Not quite sure, but only one. Now another one going to be coming in. The pivot is going to be coming in to manage Jammin. You're going to try to get in position as Jammer comes back around. Susie Hot Rod.
Susie Hot Rod cuts past Psychobabble. She's out. That's another grand slam.
It was remarkable legwork as she came up along that line, just contoured her body around the Jammer, trying to hold her on the outside. Almost able to do it again. Amanda Jammin, good eyes. Notice she knocked her out.
Amanda Jammin on that hit. Major direction of gameplay penalty. So back to the penalty box. Out is Susie Hot Rod. Erkin Jerkin is out. Huge jam for Gotham, and Bam Bam, we saw there, Rocky Mountain is known to be a temperamental team. We saw it at the West Region playoffs when Rat City was able to get into their heads. In that last jam, we saw Deranged and Psychobabble both complaining at the referees, yelling at the other team. You can see that Gotham is starting to get into their heads.
Well, and we can also say that anyone who's seen, like you can see here, Susie Hot Rod, Gotham used to be a bit of a hot-headed group themselves, but just that perseverance pays off, as it shows right there, that nice bit of maneuver around. Gotham just playing strong, playing steady, just keeping their heads about them. That is why they're up 30 points right now, 44-14. And
Sexy Slady is the lead jammer for Gotham. She was lead jammer before the pack even got through turn 1. That is Erkin Jerkin on the jammer line for Rocky Mountain. She's still on her initial pass and in the back of the pack at that.
Lots of jostling going on. As you can see, no one has a good opportunity. Rocky Mountain is going to be trying to make a little bit of a move right there. Susie Hot Rod gets pushed to the inside, has to hold it up. Nice bit of a backup from Rocky Mountain. She gets right back into position. Erkin Jerkin now, of course, is being waved. She is not going to be lead.
Sexy Lady finishes her pass. Sees Erkin, calls it off. And that was 4 more points for Gotham. Hex Chromosome is high-altitude, high-performance athletic apparel for the battle-ready skater, an official sponsor of the WFTDA. Thanks so much to Hex Chromosome.
We've seen this lineup be effective before for Gotham. Going to be an opportunity if perhaps Bonnie Thunders can take advantage of it once again. But she has triple shot Misto as her compatriot with the Jammer Star. Bonnie Thunders tries to get moved to the outside, gets continuously pushed out, just forces her way back into contention, and she is your lead jammer. Nice bit of defense, but not enough from Rocky Mountain. Jammer's trying to get through for Rocky to see if she can catch up, but in the meantime, Bonnie Thunders is going to come back into scoring potential if she can catch the pack, which is just racing away from her.
Both teams, remember, responsible for maintaining the speed of the pack. Gotham keeping pace with Rocky Mountain. Bonnie Thunders now up into that pack. Gotham slows down just a bit. Bonnie Thunders gets through all by herself. Back to the penalty box issues for Rocky Mountain Bam Bam. Psychobabble is now serving 2 minutes. She had initially got a major for destruction of the pack. She was unable to go to the penalty box because the penalty box was full. While she was skating, waiting to go in and serve that first minute, she got another major for destruction of the pack. So when she was finally able to go, she had 2 majors on her docket that she's now serving for Rocky Mountain.
That is some fantastic work from our NSOs and our officials out there trying to keep track of that. That is why I would never don the stripes. That is far too much work for me.
All right, we got Susie Hot Rod jamming up against Erkin Jerkin. Susie Hot Rod up front. She's out. She is going to the penalty box for a major block to the head. Power jam now for Rocky Mountain. Erkin-Jerkin is up. She's through. She is lead jammer for Rocky Mountain.
Looks like some interesting contact. Echo also got tumbled up on that. She is going to go as a blocker to the penalty box for Rocky Mountain. But as you can see, Erkin-Jerkin has a great power jam advantage. Pack trying to figure out exactly how they're going to hold her back. Looks like they're going to try to form a wall. Gotham at the front if they can edge her out. Nice move inside to out.
Good set and spike there by OMG and Wild Cherry. Erkin-Jerkin now up. She's out. She's through. How many points? 5-point grand slam for Rocky Mountain.
OMG WTF trying to also have some assistance. Slight in size, but not slight in power, as she's now at that front again, trying to reform that wall. If they can get some help back up, Cherry being held out very nicely.
Erkin-Jerkin shrugged off a hit. She's forced just out of bounds there. I thought she was going to keep it up. OMG was looking for a cut there. No call by the ref now. Nice move by Erkin-Jerkin. She's around for another 5-point grand slam. Susie Hot Rod standing in the penalty box for Gotham.
Less than 10 seconds. We're going to see if she can come back in here. 52 for Gotham, 24 for Rocky Mountain. Rocky seeing if they can just continue to build. But here comes Susie Hot Rod.
Remember, this is Susie Hot Rod's initial pass, so Erkin-Jerkin can let her go. But 2 minutes ends the jam, so 2 more points scored there by Rocky Mountain. Solid jam by Rocky. And a solid sponsor of the WFTDA is Vanilla Derby. Let Vanilla Derby take you to success with their leather Renegade and straight jacket boots. Vanilla Skates.
Gotham trying to hold on to their no losses record this season. As you can see the replay, doing a great job right there. Jammers trying to come through, able to block that off, continue moving forward, keeps those points going. That's what got Rocky Mountain up to 26 as we're halfway through this first period, sitting right now at 15 minutes.
All right, Deranged is jamming for Rocky Mountain, but the jammer panty fell off her head. Through for lead is Bonnie Thunders for Gotham.
I don't think she even realizes it.
I don't think anyone realizes that essentially Rocky Mountain does not have a jammer. Even if she gets through the pack right now, she's not the jammer because she doesn't have the panty on her head. Bonnie Thunders, meanwhile, coming in through now for a scoring pass. Someone's bound to see the panty. They're lying on the ground, Bam Bam.
You would think, and she's able to grab it. Nice bit of defense from Gotham trying to push her away from it. Was not able to do it. She gets it back on her head very quickly, then pushes through.
Anna Bullocks gave chase, unable to engage, so Deranged is out, but Bonnie Thunder Seer calls it off, scored 5 points. That was a major catastrophe averted there for Rocky Mountain. That could have gone so much worse.
We want to thank, of course, Dr. Hauschka. They are the official WFTDA bruise healer. You can lose the bruise with Dr. Hauschka's Ouch Aid. Speaking of, on the Dr. Hauschka jammer line, we're seeing continuously, if Singer would get out of our way, that you've got all of Gotham lining up on that line. Just quickly, on a knee, no pack, gets the jammers going. It has worked very well for Susie Hot Rod.
And Erkin-Jerkin.
It might again, as Susie Hot Rod now trying to get up against Red. Nice bit of a catch at the back there if they can hold her at the 20 feet.
Amanda jamming with a solid hit, but Susie Hot Rod shrugs it off. She is lead jammer for Gotham.
As we come around, Pack still not moving, have not even gone that halfway point yet.
Erkin-Jerkin does get out of the pack. Susie Hot Rod, though, is on a scoring pass right now.
Gotham definitely taking advantage of those lead jams. They've had 7 so far, as Rocky has only had 2 into this game.
And let's give a shout out to Carlene Harvey watching Gotham City versus Rocky Mountain on WFTDA.com with her dad in the burbs. She's got the HQ feed, so she's seeing this in all the amazing quality. I mean, literally, folks, I'm watching the game with my own eyes, and I've got a monitor next to me. It looks better on the monitor than with my own eyes. Get the HQ feed. Still only $30 for the entire week, and $50 you get access to all the archives from the Big Five. Check it out on WFTDA.com.
As we have Bonnie Thunders 340 in the black, free to beat her 202 in the red.
The jam has begun.
Free to beater's been in 5 jams so far, only 3 points she has been able to put up. Very different as you look at 19 points so far for Bonnie Thunders in this game.
Both jammers working with the rugby scrum. Bonnie Thunders is out. Bonnie Thunders is lead jammer. But Free to Beater's right behind her, Bam Bam. She is out of the pack, 30 feet behind Bonnie Thunders, and closing is Erkin-Jerkin, Free to Beater with a really nice burst of speed.
That is something you don't see very often, someone catching up to Bonnie Thunders. At this point, it's just going to be a little tete-a-tete as they're going to play back and forth to see if she's going to switch to defense or just hold her. I mean, at this point, you can burn a little time, but it's just a little early in the game to do that. Doesn't look like anybody's trying to really get that much farther.
Frida Beater knocked Bonnie Thunders to the out of bounds, forced Bonnie Thunders to call it off. You do not see that very often.
That is a tough team. That is a tough call, as you see. Just a fun little play. Again, we want to thank some of our event partners: Protect Dent Mouth Guards, TICSkateGear.com, Derbalife, and of course, the shiniest of the Heinies, Derby Skins.
You know, real quick, folks, just a rules refresher for anyone watching out there on WFTDA.com. Remember, both teams are responsible for maintaining the speed of the pack. If one team destroys the pack by slowing down their speed, speaking of slowing down speed, Wild Cherry is not slowing down. She is lead jammer for Gotham.
But not to be outdone, Deranged is going to be coming around for Rocky Mountain. She is about half a track behind. Though in interesting thirds, as you can see, you've got Pack. You've now got Cherry coming up into play. Contention tries to make that inside move. Takes a bit of a stumble. Good thing she had the arms up. She ran right into the back of Psychobabble, but she did not make an illegal process, a foul, so she's able to get in, still call it, though 3 points for Gotham.
Deranged was very quick to the back of that pack. Almost got her hips in front of hips. Remember, you score until the fourth whistle. But after that, it ends. Good call by the refs. No points for Rocky on that pass. As we see here in the replay, solid hits by Rocky Mountain. Wild Cherry able to stay in bounds, but not on her skates. All right, so Susie Hot Rod comes back to the jammer line yet again for Gotham.
Gotham at 64, Rocky Mountain 26. We have 10 minutes left to play in our first half.
Erkin Jerkin is jamming for Rocky Mountain. Susie Hot Rod's up front, forced out of bounds. Did not cut the track. She's back and she's up through again. Is Susie Hot Rod. She is not lead jammer though. I'm betting a minor track. No pass, no point. Erkin Jerkin is out. She's not not lead jammer for a minor cut.
Indeed, going to go the full 2 minutes on this one. So we're going to see some great derby. Just going to power through both of these. Very capable. As you see, some straight, solid defense. Anabolics is trying to control the front, getting a little bit of assistance there from Donna Matrix for Gotham.
Both jammers now coming into the pack on the first scoring pass. Susie Hot Rod takes a nice hit on Erkin Jerkin.
Interesting to see Red trying to hold more toward the back, Black toward the front, though you have some red up there, so the pack, if it splits too far, is going to be called toward the front.
You know, here again we see how strong Rocky is when they keep their skaters on the track. All 5 red skaters out there, and Erkin Jerkin up is through. Got 4 points on that pass. Remember, has not lapped Susie Hot Rod, so she's not eligible for that 5th jammer point yet. Susie Hot Rod up front with Amanda Jam It In Ya.
Just takes a pummeling there and just continues to lead back, but on her skates, all legal, holds her back.
And Erkin Jerkin now, that was the jammer lap point. She's up front with Papier Schneid and Anabolics, 20 feet. She's gone, she's through. That's a 5-point grand slam for Rocky Mountain.
Rocky Mountain earns the free pass, continuing to hold back Susie Hot Rod, something that I have never really said before.
And just as you say it, Susie Hot Rod does get out of the pack. That was a 4-point pass for her.
Plenty of time left for Jammer to come back up and around with about 12 seconds. If she can get past that last one, it gets pushed to the inside.
Here's Susie Hot Rod. She's going to be scoring points. 7 seconds left on the jam. Erkin Jerkin's out for 4 more points.
Donna Matrix outside of the zone of engagement. She is set, but she has to go back around as 2 are already in the box for Gotham.
And 2 minutes into the jam, and there was no points scored on that last pass by Susie Hot Rod. Solid defense by Rocky Mountain to keep their blockers up. She was unable to get hips in front of hips.
Adam Wheels is the official wheel of the WFTDA, and often a marriage made in heaven. They are partnered with Rydell Skates, who is a proud partner of the WFTDA. Elemental Technologies, they are the world's most powerful video processing solutions. They are helping us bring this to you, the 2011 WFTDA Championship Tournament, Continental Divide and Conquer, brought to you by the Denver Rollergirls.
And we've got a, I believe, an official timeout. So remember, folks, if you want to give us feedback, go onto Twitter, hashtag #TalkToWFTA. That's talk, the number 2, WFTDA on Twitter. We are getting your tweets here. And we'd love to interact with you out there in the virtual world. And interacting right on the inside line, number 27, D-Range, lead jammer for Rocky Mountain.
Bonnie Thunders, though, not happy with that, just decides she's going to catch up and just pushes her way through right up the middle of the 3 wall for Rocky Mountain. but very quick, very through, aware. 27 Derange picks up the 4 points, calls it before Bonnie Thunders can even come into the pack. That has been their first lead for Rocky in 6 jams.
That was an amazing amount of fire you saw there on the part of the Rocky Mountain skaters, making the score now 68-43. I think Rocky Mountain has officially served notice to the Gotham Girls Roller Derby that they are not going to go quietly. Gotham with a substantial lead there. Rocky Mountain now coming back into this game.
As you see on the line, Erkin Jerkin, 007. She is by far the biggest point scorer for Rocky Mountain, having 26 of their 43 points so far. Bonnie Thunders, though, not too bad, looking at 19 as she is in black, trying to get through. It does not matter.
Lead jammer, Erkin Jerkin for Rocky Mountain with that micro pack out there. She was able to take advantage of it. Bonnie Thunders just does now get out, but here's quickly Erkin Jerkin back on a scoring pass.
Bonnie Thunders was held back a little bit, but again, she is able to get through. She's going to be trying to get around. We're going to see Erkin Jerkin if she can come through, get those last points. She's got Hyperlicks and Papier Schneek. If she can get past, will she call it? 6 minutes left. Now you're trailing by about 15 points. Still got to play smart as she's continuing to just struggle. Bonnie Thunders cannot even catch up, though.
Oh, that she tried to jump the apex, and discussion by the refs as to who the penalty is being called on. Looked like it was Papier Schneed. I thought it was going to be on Erkin Jerkin for engagement with both skates off the ground, but that was not the call. So Rocky Mountain, again, dodges the bullet right there, as that would have been a huge power jam for Gotham had it happened.
Absolutely, and I think that's one of those tough calls to make, because the decision was someone in the wrong spot at the wrong time, was someone making the wrong action, and I think that is why we see right now Deranged is going to be on the line, Wild Cherry is going to be on the line. We've got 5:40 left to go.
And you got to give props right there to the referees as they took time. Excuse me, lead jammer just like that as Wild Cherry for Gotham. Right behind her, though, is Deranged 10 feet behind her and closing quickly. Deranged has got the guns here. She can catch up to Wild Cherry. She does. Contact, and I believe is Wild Cherry going to call it off? Nope, she's still trying to catch Deranged.
You know, at this point, there's no reason to do that. I mean, there's psychology we've been seeing in this game so far, very strong. You just have to play as strong as both of these teams do. You cannot let up. Even with 5 minutes, you're going to go into the half. You have to regroup, as this game is still very close.
I'm not sure if Wild Cherry is trying to clear her penalty box or just possibly get into the head of Deranged, and I have to believe it's more of the latter than the former.
There are benefits both directions as you go, but there is a big smile on her face. We're going to see Deranged usually doesn't take so well to certain types of taunting.
So the penalty box now almost completely empty for Gotham, as Dominatrix is standing, as is Papier Schneed, and Wild Cherry sees them standing, calls it off. Again, I do want to take a moment to give props to the referees, as Frangiosa and
was that the Shoveler, perhaps?
Oh, nice replay there. Solid effort by Deranged, keeps those legs working.
Wild Cherry continues to draft.
Tripp and Judge Knott essentially took the time. There was that call 2 jams ago. Before they made the call, they took a brief second to confer with each other, make sure they had the right call, and then made that right call.
Indeed, they did. Right off the line, Erkin Jerkin takes a bit of a knee, but she's able to get up very quickly.
Bonnie Thunders is now up front, jamming for Gotham. Cuts on the inside. She's lead jammer, but she gets recycled back.
Very, very effective work coming out of Rocky at that front. Amanda Jamadinia has been all over Bonnie Thunders this game.
So Bonnie Thunders does finally get out, and going to the penalty box for, I believe, a 4th minor is Erkin Jerkin. Power jam now for Gotham.
Gotham now having 10 lead jams going into this game so far. Rocky's still less than half of that at 4, so definitely has been a factor. But as you can see, still at 21 points, Bonnie Thunders has got to make some kind of move if she can get past that 3-wall in front of Red.
Rocky keeps that pack moving very quickly. Gotham is matching their speed. 1 minute left in this jam. 30 seconds left in the power jam. Sweet Cherry's Pie is trying to get up there to break into that 3-wall of Rocky Mountain to pick off a blocker to slow down the pack. They do, so the pack slows down. That is a Salt and Pepper now being held back by Gotham.
It is a rare thing to see Bonnie Thunders not making any kind of specific move, but she's doing a lot of watching of the bench, decides that she's just going to play it smart. She gets bumped out, she gets taken, she decides to call the jam there. So, Kool-Aid, one of the questions I have is that you've got, again, this tight of a score. 3 trips so far for jammers to the penalty box for Rocky Mountain. How big of a factor is the penalty box been?
Well, it's huge. And remember, folks, 7 trips to the penalty box is a foul out now. Donna Matrix, captain for Gotham, sitting on 4 trips to the box. Psychobabble, also 4 trips to the box. Rocky Mountain has 2 players with 3 trips to the box, Salt and Pepper and Erkin Jerkin. Erkin Jerkin and Psychobabble, huge parts of the Rocky Mountain game, Bam Bam.
Susie Hot Rod, lone jammer right there, so it's an early start power jam, but she is going to be also lead jammer. Jammer's then also going to come in for Rocky, makes a nice apex jump, trying to catch it up, seeing if she can, though Susie Hot Rod has a half-track advantage, as she is already at the back of the pack, deciding which way to move, moves to the inside, bit of a hop, nice, bit of a bump off of Bob Loblaw, but gets caught up with Frida Beater getting taken down by the pivot for Rocky.
Oh, but she stays on her skates, comes through on the inside, and calls it off. We'll see if Erkin Jerkin got through. She did. 3 points there. Solid jam there by Rocky Mountain, holding on to Susie Hot Rod, allowing Erkin Jerkin to get in there and score some points.
You need to check out No Mercy. That is the new Derby photo book from Jules Axel Adams Doyle. That is No Mercy.
All right, we've got Derange coming to the jammer, to the Dr. Hauschka jammer line for Rocky Mountain in red. Wild Cherry for Gotham Girls Roller Derby in black. 1 minute left in this half. Remember, the jam will end on the jam clock, not the game clock.
Wild Cherry, very strong player, though only 8 points so far in the jammer position.
Oh, Derange is up front past Hyperlink. She's lead jammer, Derange for Rocky Mountain. Wild Cherry still in the back of the pack. The door was open briefly on the inside, but then closed with some ferocity by Deranged. 40 by blah, blah, blah.
40 seconds left on the play clock, but again, 1.5 minutes is the potential for this. We're going to see how Deranged is going to play it out.
As Wild Cherry does get out about half of a lap behind the pack. Oh, solid hit by Anabolics on Deranged. Deranged calls it off. 27 seconds on the NSO clock when that jam ended. 30 seconds tick off between each jam. So depending on the official clock, remember, we're not looking at the official clock here. We may have time for one more jam. I don't see either team looking like they want to call timeout.
No, which again may be wise. You're only down by about 22 points. You still have those 3, which may be much more important as you get into the second half. It looked like bench was out there for Gotham, thinking if they were going to call it.
And that is the clock. And ladies and gentlemen, that is your first half of this action. Gotham Girls Roller Derby 75, Rocky Mountain Roller Girls 50. One of these teams is done for the weekend. One of these teams will advance to play Texas. Bam Bam, thoughts on an amazing first half so far?
You know, there are those moments where we watch this game and you get so involved where all of a sudden you take a moment to sit back and you just go, this is exactly what these teams need to be bringing here. Now, there has been the issue of altitude, though I know for a fact Gotham has been training for that very fact, and it's showing up right now. They have continued to lead throughout the entirety of this game. They have not really given up, but we haven't seen that consistent, strong, in-your-face play that Gotham is known for. Rocky has a tendency to get a little hot-headed, though they have reined that in, with the exception of Psychobabble, who has now 5 penalty minutes. The following are 3 and 3, so fairly balanced so far.
Yeah, and you have to make 2 points here. Number one, Psychobabble, as you said, 5 trips to the box. She can go to the penalty box twice more, and she is done for the game. But you have to be impressed with Rocky Mountain. It looked like they were going to let the game get away from them. It looked like they were going to get into their heads, but they've come back strong in this game. Only the score correction, now a 22-point lead for Gotham. This is anyone's game going into the second half. Let's talk a little bit about stats, Bam Bam. In that first jam, 17 jams. Gotham had lead jammer in 12 of those, to Rocky Mountain's only 5. And then, of course, the huge difference is the penalty box. Gotham had 3 power jams, Rocky Mountain only with 1 of those. Gotham clearly able to capitalize on those. Grand Slams, of course, such a huge part of our game. Gotham had 7. Rocky Mountain, though, was able to pull out 5. You recall there was a jam where there was no lead jammer, and Rocky Mountain did an excellent job rattling off some points in that. Let's talk a little bit about the penalty box, Bam Bam.
Indeed, as we can see here, Donna Matrix has already 4 penalty minutes that's served. So remember, 7 and you are done. But it's quite easily that she is the only one who has any real trouble for Gotham. However, on the Rocky Mountain side, Psychobabble is at 5. You've got Amanda Jamadini, who has been definitely a powerhouse here, at 3. Salt and Pepper also at 3. Erkin Jerkin, who has the majority of their points, 33. She is at 3 trips to the box. So just even-handedly, a little bit more likely that Rocky Mountain is going to have some issues as we continue in the second half.
Yeah, you can't talk enough about Rocky Mountain essentially being in foul trouble right now. Psycho Babble's such a huge part of this team. She's been in 17 jams in that first half, and she's got 5 trips to the box. That would be a huge loss should they lose her. And of course, Erkin Jerkin has been such a solid jammer. Amanda Jamadinho has been, in my opinion, the best blocker for Rocky Mountain out there. She has owned the front of the pack.
Absolutely.
She can skate backwards and forwards, delivers vicious hits either direction. Not just strong hits, but she's a very smart, very heady player. She's aware of the pack. Rocky Mountain would be significantly at loss if they lost any of those 3 skaters.
And I'll agree 100% with that idea, because she has been the thorn in the side of Bonnie Thunders, as she is still 19 points to Susie Hot Rod's 44. Bonnie Thunders usually much more effective with the Jammer Star, but it has really been the matchup that she has had, with Amanda Jamadinho, that has really been the factor that is keeping them now at the 53-point mark to Gotham Girls 75. We're getting to the line. Bonnie Thunders with the Jammer Star in black for Gotham. Deranged in the red, number 27 on the line as well. As we see, once again, they are lining up right in front of the Jammers, Kool-Aid.
Now let's talk a little about, we've got a moment as Sugar Daddy is talking to the Rocky Mountain bench coach right now. Remember, the blockers can line up anywhere between the jammer line and the oft underused pivot line. We've had some questions on Talk to WFTDA on Twitter. The reason they're lining up there is essentially because they want to. They feel you get stronger control of the pack when you line up all your blockers there. We saw some in the last game of Texas versus Minnesota where blockers would line up all of them on the pivot line. There's nothing in the rules that says you have to line up one way or the other. This is just the way these teams are choosing to do it.
And the reason that you see them on that knee is that first whistle, as you just heard, there is no pack then. If there is not everybody standing, there's no pack, so there's no penalty. Gets the Jammers going with 2 whistles right away. As you can see, Bonnie Thunders now trying to get around the outside, not having a whole lot of luck. Looks like Deranged just slightly more, but she has got number 2, Donna Matrix, right in front of her.
And both Jammers working very hard here. Pack picks up speed. Bonnie Thunders up front with who else? Amanda Jamadinho. Amanda shoves Bonnie Thunders to the outside. She stays in bounds, though.
Continues to move as Deranged now at the back of the pack, trying to find an opportunity, just pacing almost, waiting for that moment to kind of push through. She did not quite find it. Donna Matrix thought she had it.
Deranged is through. Lead jammer Rocky Mountain. So Bonnie Thunders now still in the pack on her first pass, Deranged about half of a lap away from the pack, but closing quickly is Deranged.
As we see Deranged, she does have the lead. She's going to have that good opportunity to come back in. Bonnie still trying to get past Frida Peter, just able to get through there. She does it legally. She stays in bounds and on her skates. But in the meantime, Deranged comes around. She's going to pick up 4 points on that pass.
That was an amazing move by Bonnie Thunders to stay in bounds, shrugging off that hit from Amanda Jamadinho, but was able to hold her skates on the inside line, avoids a track cut, and we're going to come back and do it again, Bam Bam.
Erkin Jerkin, 0-0 on the line, almost over the line there for a minute, but is able to back up very quickly. Saw her position, number 55, Susie Hot Rod in the black for Gotham All-Stars.
We've got a micro pack out there for Gotham as 2 of the Gotham blockers are in the penalty box. Rocky Mountain, all 4 of their blockers out there, so advantage initially for Rocky Mountain as Susie Hot Rod tries to take down Erkin Jerkin, but goes down herself. Erkin Jerkin up front. Erkin Jerkin is out. Erkin Jerkin lead jammer Rocky Mountain.
Very effective. 33 points have been put up so far. We're going to see if she's going to get a couple of more as Susie Hot Rod has now broken through the pack. Pack doing a nice job of just trying to hold that easy inside line. Very, very well played. Smart move, just this nice crescent shape. Holds in the limited pack from Gotham right there. Picks up those points very quickly. Getting ever closer. Gotham still held at 75. Now Rocky Mountain 61.
So 2 jams in, 2 lead jams for Rocky Mountain, 8 points. And speaking of points, you can score points with your honey if you get her some Dr. Hauschka Bruise Healer. Dr. Hauschka, the official WFTDA's Bruise Healer. Lose the bruise with Dr. Hauschka's Ouch Aid.
As you can see, 3 and 3 at the bottom of your screen right there, saying that those are timeouts that still remain for both of these teams. So definitely holding on to them until they need them, as we are 27-27 in our second half.
And we are Bonnie Thunders versus who else? Deranged. Deranged around on the outside, but she's got a wall defense. She's squirts through on her own. She's out lead jammer Deranged Rocky Mountain.
Trying to see if she can. Oh, very well played. That is Bonnie Thunder. She's able to get up and through, but we've seen this happen before. Deranged now in potential scoring spots. She can get up and through. She's got one more to get past. We will see if she's going to try and power around, let Bonnie Thunders get any points in the meantime. As she is pushed out, she does not. Very wise call.
She calls it off. I think she only 3 points there for Deranged, but a solid second half here so far, as that's 11-0 for Rocky Mountain in this second half over Gotham Girls Roller Derby.
Wicked Skatewear, we want to thank them so much. You can say hi to B-Train and Strychnine. Go to their website, Wicked Skatewear, get a little bit more information. They're just some great folks.
You can just go wherever roller derby is played and say hi to B-Train and Strychnine. They're probably there.
They're definitely there.
All right, we've got Wild Cherry coming back to the jammer line for Gotham. And who else? Erkin Jerkin for Rocky Mountain. Slow start rugby scrum. Wild Cherry up front with all 4 of the Rocky Mountain blockers. Wild Cherry's out. Lead jammer. Gotham Girls Roller Derby is Wild Cherry.
As we see, the best way to describe rugby scrum is when everybody's just pushing against. There's no easy opportunity to get through. It just is a big old wall. But as you can see, Erkin Jerkin just kind of hit it, was able to get around it. Now she is through and out. But the advantage is with Gotham, and she is back into scoring potential, trying to be held back from the defense of Rocky Mountain to see if Erkin Jerkin can get up close enough to get some points.
And Erkin Jerkin now comes into the pack. Only 1 point there for Gotham. Strong work by Rocky Mountain to force the call off, as you were saying, Bam Bam.
And great, again, eyes from Wild Cherry. She was in a potential. She did not see jammer till the last moment. Then she called it off. She does not want her opponent jamming to get up a couple of points.
All right, coming back to the jammer line. Who else? Bonnie Thunders versus Deranged. Remember, that's Rocky Mountain in the red, Gotham in the black. Gotham, who won it all in 2008. Rocky Mountain, who won it all in 2010. And we've got an official timeout right now is the call.
They just wanted to stop the action for a moment so that we can remind you folks.
I will
get some DVDs of this. If you want this high action game, it's going to be $15. You can get a DVD of this game, which I can highly recommend, but also $150 is going to get you a DVD of all of the games for the entire weekend. But this is one you are going to want to review over and over again. As we can see, Gotham at 76, Rocky Mountain 64. Gotham only 1 point so far in the first 5 minutes of this game.
Now, I would bet you $1 million right now, Bam Bam, that Rocky Mountain is disputing the points on that last pass. Waiting for the official word. So in the meantime, remember, Bam Bam, one of these teams is going to play is going to play Texas in the semifinals, and one of these teams is done. Now, Gotham, interestingly, since they have won it in 2000, actually every year since 2007, the team that has defeated them in the WFTDA championships has gone on to win the championships. It was Kansas City in 07, it was Ole in 08, it was Rocky Mountain in 2010. I'll be very curious to see if that pattern holds true, if Gotham's able to finally break out in this game. And as we said, it was an official review on the number of points that were scored by Rocky Mountain, and shockingly, the refs did not change their point total.
They have been definitely on top of it this entire weekend. There have been a number of times where players are coming out and coaches are just saying, is that correct? And indeed, every time they have stood. So that is going to keep us Gotham at 76-64 for Rocky Mountain.
You almost never see the points get scored there because essentially what they're disputing is were the hips in front of hips of skaters. And if you've ever stood in the inside track, the view is dramatically different from where the refs stand than where from we stand. So we're back to it now with Bonnie Thunders against Deranged. Deranged up front. She is out. Deranged. Major track cut. Power jam now for Gotham. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I thought I saw lead jammer status go for about a quarter of a second.
I think it was Sexy Slady had a little bit of something to say on that. She took her out. Now, she also goes to the penalty box, but I think that was it. They thought she'd made it. She went out. She drew the penalty for it, but that's what you have to do. You have to make that foul to make the play happen.
So Bonnie Thunders is out of the track. She is the only jammer skating right now, but she is not lead jammer because the Deranged was given lead jammer status for just a second and can only give once a jam, so we're going the full 2 minutes here as Bonnie Thunders is now on her first scoring pass. She's got briefly had all 4 blockers out there for Rocky Mountain right now, Bam Bam.
It looks like we've just got one in the box for Gotham as Sweet Cherry Pie was able to get back into play. Bonnie Thunder's just taking her time, trying to play smart, as you can see right there. Nice bit of a bump and set. She's going to get back into position, but she is not going to get around very easily until there's that potential 20 feet, and that's where she has to let her go for the 5-point grand slam.
Solid pack play there by Rocky Mountain. That took almost a full minute just on that one pass. Standing is Deranged in the penalty box. Power jam's almost over. Bonnie Thunder's on her second scoring pass. And Deranged back up through untouched. Now we'll see this. So yes, that she completed her initial pass. Derange is asking for points there, Bam Bam, but remember she had. Now Bonnie Thunder's trying to call it off. That's an illegal procedure minor because the jam was not called off successfully. Meanwhile, Derange comes through. That's a scoring pass. That's 4 points for Rocky Mountain.
Very quickly, the tide is about to turn. It looks like for Gotham, if they can just hold together. They're not having a lot of luck right now as we've got Derange back in around the outside. Gotham breaks off to the front to see if they can catch her. They cannot. Another 5 points. Going to bring them ever closer now. 73 for Rocky.
Bonnie Thunders completes a scoring pass there, 4 points, and 2 minutes ends the jam. So much to talk about there, Bam Bam. Deranged went through. She was given lead jammer status, did not complete the last pass just as she went through, as we see a beautiful replay there of some solid hits by Psychobapple holding on to Bonnie Thunders. Deranged did not complete the initial pass before she went to the penalty box. Thus, when she came out of the penalty box, that first pass was still the initial pass. That's why she did not score points on what, to Rocky Mountain's eyes, was her first scoring pass through the pack.
As it is now a 12-point game in the favor of Gotham, we have an official timeout, which will allow me to thank some more of our event partners, Sin City Skates. They've been running around here. They are always on the ball, so to speak, to make sure that the gear is working properly. And Derbyville, Bruised Boutique, Iron Doll, Flat Track Revolution, Fast Girl Skates, Derbyology, and Union Vacations. Again, Union Vacations, a great friend of ours. They are giving the MVP of this tournament a week's trip to Mexico. So we want to thank Union Vacations. Pay attention toward the end of our tournament this entire weekend, which you can be watching for $30 more in high quality. Just check it out, see what Union Vacations is going to do. Who's going to be the MVP?
And that the official review there was Gotham curious as to why Bonnie Thunders did not get lead jammer status, and exactly as we described it was the call on the track. So we got Free to beat her against Susie Hot Rod. Strong hit by Amanda Jamininja. Susie Hot Rod is out. Susie Hot Rod is going to the penalty box for a major elbow power jam for Rocky Mountain. Free to beat her is out. She's lead jammer for Rocky Mountain.
It's getting a little thin out there for Gotham. Donna Matrix is about to get back in. She is on her 5th trip over in that box, so they're going to send her in a moment, try and thicken it up a little bit, but it's going to be an easy opportunity until she can get back in for Free to beat her. If she can get past, not a lot of assistance from her own team, as it's looking even thinner for Rocky Mountain right now, as you can see on your screen.
I think Rocky Mountain was initially considering slowing down the pack. Now Free to beat her gets out 3 points. No pass, no penalty, no point. Comes back in for a second scoring pass.
Everything just resets for a moment there. People catch their breath, push on through. She's able to go right up in the middle, get 4 more points for Rocky Mountain, closing the gap now 85-80.
She did get the jammer lap point there. Only got 4 though because of a minor track cut. 7 points in this jam for Free to beat her on her 3rd scoring pass now. Susie Hot Rod standing in the penalty box. Free to beat her stays in bounds. She's out. How many points is that? All 5 points. Grand slam. It's a tie game, 85-85. Susie Hot Rod is back on the track working on her initial pass through the pack. She gets out.
Bob Loblaw right in the way, holding her up as long as she can, but Susie Hot Rod is finally able to get around. But again, that is her initial pass. Score is going to stand until Rocky gets in. How many can she before she calls it?
She called it off, scoring 2 more points. A 2-point lead for Rocky Mountain, 87-85 of the Gotham Girls Roller Derby.
Crowd a little bit excited here, Kool-Aid.
Crowd is very, very excited. They're seeing their hometown team make a strong, strong case for their title defense.
Though Rocky Mountain had a nice little run there, they are in potential trouble as Psychobabble has gone now 6 times to the penalty box. 1 more time, and she is going to be out of this game. As she has been very, very effective in that blocking position. She has been in 22 of the 27 jams in this game so far, as Erkin Jerkin now on the line for Rocky Mountain in the red.
And Sexy Slady is jamming for Gotham, but lead jammer is Erkin Jerkin. Sexy Slady, not one of the power jammers for Gotham. We've seen her out there more than once, but she is not Susie Hot Rod or Bonnie Thunders. But you've got to give those girls a rest, as meanwhile here comes Erkin.
Bob Loblaw took a little bit of a face plant for a moment, but she caught her breath. She was able to get back up. She didn't take herself out, but she wasn't down. They didn't have to call it. She's able to get right back in for play as points are going to come around. It looks like 4 more for Rocky. Nothing for Gotham on that pass.
Clearly you can see the skates making a huge difference here. I can't imagine those women are wearing anything except Atom wheels, the official wheel of the WFTDA, and those wheels clearly on Rydell skates, a proud partner and the official skate of the WFTDA.
If you have something you would like to tell us or yell at us or comment on, talk to WFTDA, #talk, #2 WFTDA. Tweet us your thoughts.
And Deranged jamming for Rocky Mountain came through on the inside line. The door was open. She came right through. Lead jammer for Rocky Mountain, Susie Hot Rod. Major track cut on Susie Hot Rod. Jamming for Gotham. Power jam now for Rocky Mountain. Gotham at a huge disadvantage. Only 2 blockers. Anabolics, Donna Matrix out there as here comes Deranged in on a scoring pass, Bam Bam.
As you can see, though, we still have 19 minutes left, so a big play coming from Rocky right now, but lots of time for things to turn back around. 5-point Grand Slam is going to take them up to 96. They are now 11 points up. Rocky Mountain has 7 out of the 8 last jams have been lead in favor of Rocky Mountain.
So here comes Deranged now. Slow moving pack, micro pack, 2-on-2. Penalty box nearly full. Deranged comes up, gets a little shove. Pack starts to speed up. Papier-Schnitt back onto the track, blocking for Gotham. Solid move by Donna Matrix, forces Deranged out. She's back in, now up front with Anabolics. The pack's way out there. I expect to see 20 out of play. We do. She calls it off. 4 more points. Bam Bam, we've got to go back to this penalty box. Deranged doing an amazing job. The last, though, 3 times that Susie Hot Rod has been out there wearing the star for Gotham, gone to the penalty box.
She has, and that has hurt them quite a bit, as she is by far their biggest point scorer. She's put up 44, but over half of the points that they've got so far, but she is in that box. She serves that time. And that is what is just keeping that momentum slow, as they've only gotten 10 points in this second half so far, as Rocky Mountain now at the century mark, 100. Irk and Jerkin back in for Rocky Mountain in the red. Of course, now Susie Hot Rod is standing, so she's got about 10 seconds left, so we'll see.
Gotham does a very, very smart slow start there to kind of try to burn off as much of the power jam as they can. And we are back. Both jammers, remember, both jammers eligible for lead jammer. Nice job by Irk and Jerkin. She is going to the penalty box. Major.
It looks like it might have been a cut. We are not quite sure, but she is definitely set.
Misconduct. Initiating contact with both skates off the air is the call on Rocky Mountain. Susie Hot Rod jamming for Gotham now.
And that is one of the dangers of making that hop. As you saw, she tried to make the apex jump. She did not make it. She made it legal contact. That is the penalty, as it was called. Well done by the shoveler. But in the meantime,
Susie Hot Rod is now lead jammer. Gotham does what they do best, slows down the packets at a stop at turn 1. Here comes Susie Hot Rod. Tries to get past the salt and pepper. She does not, has to recycle back. Now the pack starts to move forward. Gotham gets all 4 of their blockers as Donna Matrix rejoins the track.
Susie Hot Rod not afraid to get physical at a jammer at all. She will take you out of her way if she cannot get around you. She will bump and set as she did Echo. She gets past her to get another 5-point Grand Slam to close it up. Now a 10-point game.
Echo picked up 2 minor elbows on that last pass by Susie Hot Rod. Here's Susie Hot Rod again, untouched on the outside. 5-point Grand Slam. Power jam is over. And that's going to be a major low block on Irk and Jerkin. She came in fast, out of control, knocked down a Gotham skater. Susie Hot Rod now on another scoring pass with another Grand Slam. Gotham coming back into this game with a fierce move, Bam Bam.
It looked like Irk and Jerkin just had so much momentum. She tried to stop. She lost momentum on her skates, came in, skates first, took the legs out. That's absolutely going to send her to the penalty box. As you can see right there, Susie Hot Rod once again getting around Echo. Echo is going to be sent out to the penalty box. 5 more points for Gotham. That's going to bring it back up to a tie.
Wow.
That is now Irkin as jammer. That is her 4th trip to the penalty box as jammer. We've seen that hurt Susie Hot Rod. Now it is going to hurt Rocky Mountain. Nice. You can see right there the contact that sent her to the box. As you saw right there, jumping it, skates were off the ground. You cannot do that.
You cannot initiate contact with skates off the ground. As you said, the apex jump is a beautiful thing. And speaking of beautiful things, I sincerely hope and pray that you were watching this action on the HQ feed. If you're watching the tiny little window on your computer, it's $30. It's $30 for all weekend. And this is only game 6 of 12. We've got more action coming all weekend long. Get the HQ feed on WFTDA.com. You will thank yourself probably for at least a year.
Oh, easily. I know I often do. We also want to thank one of our great partners. That is Dr. Hauschka. Please stop by their website, drhauschka.com. That is Dr. Hauschka. Google it if you need to. Another one you want to Google is going to be Spenlin Media. They like to think outside the lines. They have a new kind of t-shirt. That is Spenlin, S-P-E-N-L-E-N.
So here we go. Let's reset the action. 15 minutes, 46 seconds left in the second half in this game. Rocky Mountain Rollergirls, the women in red, 100 points. Gotham Girls Roller Derby All-Stars, the women in black, 99 points. Bonnie Thunders is jamming for Gotham. She is the only jammer out there as Erkin Jerkin was sent back to the penalty box. That was true tip. 2 trips to the box on that last jam for her.
The CHE penalty box has seen a lot of action from both of these two teams. As we said, Psychobabble has 6, Donna Matrix has 6, Erkin Jerkin has 5, but it might even possibly be 6. I am just amazed at how close we have, and we have still about 16 minutes left to play.
The NSO's at the table calling for an official timeout. Believe a brief computer error, and we're back to it.
Just in time to get the action back underway. Once again, Bonnie Thunders on the Dr. Hauschka jam line. Unopposed currently, as Erkin Jerkin still in the penalty box.
Now, interesting is to see all of Gotham, as we've spoken about, taking a knee. This prevents a pack from being formed at the beginning of the pack. That means the jammers are released immediately, in this case Bonnie Thunders, to extend as much as possible of the power play. But interesting, they're all taking the outside line there. We've not yet seen that.
And that really is just going to make Bonnie Thunders have to do the hard work. But as you can see, they're just going to be able to hold back a little bit. We're going to see if they can get past that 20-foot.
Multiplayer block was called. Bonnie Thunders is out. Lead jammer Bonnie Thunders for Gotham.
Worked out for Gotham better than they thought. Again, just trying to hold back a little bit right now.
Psychobabble going to the penalty box. She's taking her time. The minute does not start until she gets there, but she's in no rush because that is her 7th trip to the box. I do believe Psychobabble's fouled out. Grand slam for Bonnie Thunders.
And indeed she did. Psychobabble didn't even go to the box. She just went right around and out. So we can see Bonnie Thunders still struggling. She is just being left to her own devices as the pack just holding back there for Gotham. They're just hanging out, being New Yorkers.
So Erkin Jerkin now back out of the penalty box, forced out of bounds by fisticuffs. Bonnie Thunders now on another scoring pass. Remember, Erkin Jerkin on her initial pass. 1 minute left in this jam.
We're going to see who draws that one.
Another power jam as Erkin Jerkin is sent back to the penalty box.
So that is misconduct, I believe. She is being sent for. Now that is 6 here that I am reading. So she also is in high danger of being sent out. Not what Rocky Mountain needs to do right now, as they had the lead. They have lost it. Gotham now is at 119.
Pack is completely stopped. Free to beat her and blah, blah, blah. Out there, the only blockers for Rocky Mountain. Gotham is barely skating forward, but enough for the referees to keep it as the pack is moving. And that's another grand slam for Bonnie Thunders.
Pack just holding completely still, as you can see on your screen. 4 black in the back, 2 red. Nice bit of a move. Pulls up, comes in backwards, so any contact is going to be good, fair.
Amanda Jamin engaging well out of play. Looks like just a minor call. As another grand slam for Bonnie Thunders makes us 129. The jam ends on 2 minutes. Gotham very happy. The crowd very unhappy. I have to imagine we're going to get some kind of official review. However, Bam Bam.
That is 30 points for Bonnie Thunders. Right there, as you can see that move toward the end that helps secure that. Nice bit of a hip bump on Amanda Jamidinia, but she's able to get, Bob Loblaw, but she's able to get back up on her feet, get around, decides to call it for 30 points. Puts them well back into the lead with 13:20 left to play.
So fouled out of this game is Psychobabble. Erkin Jerkin is sitting on 6 trips to the box. Susie Hot Rod jamming now for Gotham. Erkin Jerkin is standing. And out for not lead jammer, Susie Hot Rod. Minor track cut on her way through. Brief bit of hope here for Rocky Mountain as Erkin Jerkin is back on the track, but here's Susie Hot Rod on the scoring post. Untouched around the outside for 5 points. Grand slam for Gotham.
Uh-oh, and just like that, we were talking about it. It looks like a 4th minor for Erkin Jerkin. That is going to be her 7th trip as she goes now to sit into the penalty box. So it looks like they are going to figure that out, but by my math, that is going to be it for her. So still a great opportunity as Susie Hot Rod gets around quite easily as there's only 1 opponent out. A little bit of a bump, 5 more points, a grand slam.
Now, Erkin Jerkin sat wearing the penalty cap on what we believe is her 7th trip to the box. With 1:20 left of this jam, Susie Hot Rod just skates right by Amanda Jamidinia, who attempts to engage. Minor out of play, 5-point grand slam. Erkin Jerkin is going away. She has fouled out. She's got the jammer cap on her helmet. They can't put another jammer into the penalty box. We're going to see an extended power jam here potentially for Gotham, as we may see a full 1 minute, 20-second power jam.
One of those rare opportunities to see a derby of this high quality, but we're going to see that opportunity right now as it looks like somebody else is getting sent to the penalty box. She's got to go back around.
And as Winona Fighter not being called out, slow moving pack. Here comes Susie Hot Rod. Gotham, again, just skating all four of their blockers on the outside. Susie Hot Rod barely touched there by Winona Fighter. Another 5-point grand slam. DeRange coming back into the track. You can just see the frustration on her face.
Winona Fighter definitely was drawing that minor, getting a little bit excited about it as they are seeing this lead slip desperately away. Gotham now at 159 in the last 5 minutes. What a huge turn of events against Bull Rocky Mountain as they sit still at 100 points, as they had no jammer eligible to come back in, as Erkin Jerkin had gotten her 7th and was asked to leave the game.
That is correct. So remember, folks, when you foul out, ideally if the referees are on top of it, which they clearly were, as we have a timeout by Rocky Mountain, you immediately exit the track. They will put in a replacement for you to serve your minute penalty. But if you go out wearing the jammer panty, they cannot put another jammer in until the next jam. So Gotham able to capitalize there as they had a 1 minute, essentially 21-second power jam from Erkin Jerkin's 7th trip to the box. The score now 159 to 100. And essentially what I suspect Gotham is doing is there was a clarification prior to this tournament where, remember, both teams responsible for maintaining the speed of the pack. If one team skates to the outside, the far corner, the wide corner of the track coming into turn 1 and into turn 3, which would slow down the pack of the speed. Go ahead.
And we have another problem for Rocky Mountain as Amanda Jamaninya has also fouled out. So that is 3 in a row. Psychobabble, Erkin Jerkin, and Amanda Jamaninya, probably 3 of the names that we have talked most about this game. That is going to be a huge, huge loss. At 11 minutes left to play, 59-point advantage. The question is, what does Rocky have left on the track? They have some strong play coming from Frida Beta earlier. Of course, we have DeRange still in there. Echo's made some plays. You really have to start rethinking your strategy at this point with those players gone.
Well, and not only those players gone, but now you're down by 59 points. So I think I get back to the point. Essentially what Gotham is doing is by starting on the outside of the track, because if you take that long, slow turn around the apex, you can be called for destruction of the pack. Even though you're maintaining this speed because you take the long way around, that is destruction in the referee's eye. By Gotham lining up out there, I suspect, I'm completely making this up as I go, I suspect that they are avoiding that major destruction of the pack penalty that would have been called. We saw it called multiple times in the Texas-Minnesota game this morning. By lining up the outside, that's what they're avoiding.
I think that's a very astute analysis.
All right, we've got Wild Cherry versus Triple Shot Misto on the jammer line. Penalty box surprisingly empty, but for Echo, who is standing.
It's
so remember,
been hard.
less than 10 seconds left.
Again, Triple Shot Misto just trying to tow it up at the Dr. Hausha jam line. Wild Cherry also there, number 6 in the black for Gotham. As we get back to it, Misto tries to take that inside line that gets caught up in the middle, then runs into the double wall of black, pushes through, does it all legally. We will see. No, she does not. That is a minor forearm, so she is not going to be lead jammer.
Advantage here for Wild Cherry. She's up front. Triple Shot Misto now scoring points, though. Wild Cherry working so hard up front. Potentially still eligible for lead jammer. She gets past Salt and Pepper. She's out. She's lead jammer. Quickly calls it off, but maybe at that point, Triple Shot Misto had already scored 3 points. You have to imagine she had scored at least a few. Go ahead and burn some clock. You've got the lead, and try to get some points of your own to at least match the points that Rocky Mountain was scoring.
Yeah, I would think exactly at that point. You're through the pack. You know she is caught up. You're going to have an opportunity to get around. Why not, as you say, burn some of that clock? Take the opportunity to see if you can just kind of counter some of the points that she had just taken up. Now they are at 103 for Rocky Mountain.
So we've got Deranged versus Bonnie Thunder. So you see Susie Hot Rod lining up behind the jammer line. She's getting her intentional 4th minor.
Bonnie Thunder's trying to pry around the outside line. Deranged now moving very quickly behind her. It's a bit of a race as Deranged now is in front. If she can hold that inside, gets a nice bit of a bump from the pivot.
That's Katie Keeks up front. Hold on, Deranged. Deranged, though, is out. She is not lead jammer. No pass, no penalty. 2 jams in a row. The Rocky Mountain jammer has gotten out quickly, but is declared not lead jammer. Bonnie Thunder still in the pack. Little whip off sexy Slady. She's out. She's lead jammer. Quickly calls it off before Deranged was able to get a good jam by Bonnie Thunders.
Exactly. That is what it seems like Cherry was trying to do the last one, is that she just is at the point she knows, might as well call it right now because we've got plenty of time to reset. We do not have real advantage other than I can call it right now, which I think I'm going to do. Deranged has been lead jammer every time she's been out there this period so far, so still continuing to be effective as she sits only with 3 in the penalty box. So she is really going to have to start pulling some more of that weight, as they said, at 103 to 159 to Gotham.
All right, so triple shot Misto versus Wild Cherry. Triple shot Misto working up front. Pack moving decent speed. Wild Cherry now up front herself. She's out of play. She is not lead jammer. Minor forearm.
Indeed, so it's going to be an opportunity for triple shot Misto. She's getting the free pass from Fisty Cuffs, so that allows her to get out in front as lead and call it. Now, again, the question is that the good strategy play, or is it she should have gone for it?
No, absolutely. You call it off there. I mean, the clock is not your friend. Remember, you're going to lose 30 seconds between each jam, but you're down still a manageable lead. So I immediately call it off, prevent Gotham from getting any more points. We've got Deranged coming back to the jammer line for Bonnie Thunders. As you said, Bam Bam, Deranged has gotten lead jammer every single time she's been on the jammer line now for Rocky Mountain in this half. We're off. Bonnie Thunders almost up front, but Echo closed the door. Deranged coming on the outside. Deranged is through. Deranged lead jammer Rocky Mountain. The crowd goes wild, Bam Bam.
Indeed they do. They're hoping they can pull this thing out with 8 minutes. We've seen crazier things happen. Bonnie Thunders now has broken through the front of the pack, which pack is all over the place at this point.
Moving very quickly. 40 feet separate the jammers. Here comes Deranged. Moving in the pack past Susie Hot Rod, past Sexy Slady, almost calls it off. I think she only got 1 there. 3, excuse me.
Somehow she's able to pick up 3. Remember, it's hips, have to pass hips. You get
and
the
ghost
contour.
Points.
Absolutely, the contour of the lane. It's all about the point of reference for the referee to see across.
So remember, this was a tie game until Gotham had those 2 huge jams, which is when they opened up this lead, essentially 60 points in those 2 jams. Rocky Mountain can still do this, but they've got to start making some significant headway. 4-0 is not going to do it for them if they're going to get back into this game.
We want to thank Derby for All. They are experienced Derby skaters, getting you the right gear to take you to the next level. Derby for All.
And we've got triple shot Misto versus, I believe, Wild Cherry.
Yeah, that is correct, as she's getting knocked to the back of the pack.
Triple shot Misto up front. Wild Cherry now joins her up front. Wild Cherry is out. Wild Cherry lead jammer and thought it was going to be another power jam, not just a multiplayer block. Triple shot Misto, though, still in the pack, Bam Bam.
She has been very effective so far, being held back at this jam, still recycled over and over again by Gotham. Fisty Cuffs at the back, holding a little bit of court over there with number 500, also very effective this far.
And that was a 5-point grand slam there by Wild Cherry. She shrugged off some hits. Triple shot Misto in the back with Fisty Cuffs. Oh, nice move by Wild Cherry. Comes on the outside. Past the Salt and Pepper. 5 more points. We're starting to see the pack slow down here, Bam Bam. I don't know if it's a strategical thing or if the teams are just starting to get fatigued.
Well, I think you have an issue when you're 6 minutes in. This game has been so hard-hitting, and just the excitement level changes. Now, the factor can be with the losses that they've had, is Rocky Mountain still have the power and the stamina emotionally to continue in this game.
Well, triple shot Misto is out of the pack now, about 35 feet, and she just now turns on the jet. She went about a full half of a lap there, just skating at a very lackadaisical rate, which, again, you have to imagine is fatigue. But speaking of fatigue, going to the penalty box for a major back block is Wild Cherry. Power jam now for Rocky Mountain. We've got 24 seconds left in this jam. Triple shot Misto is out 5 points.
Absolutely, she gets the free pass. And as we talk about fatigue, you just lose that fast muscle response. So you are not able to stop yourself so quickly like you've been able to do. And that's essentially what happened to Cherry there. She came in just a little too hot, did not have the power to slow it down. But the power is definitely in favor of Rocky Mountain, as another 5 points are going to go up on their board.
And this is exactly what Rocky Mountain needed. Micro pack out there for Gotham. Only 1 timeout for Rocky Mountain. I have to imagine they don't take it here. You're going to want to save that, see if you can stop the clock at the end. We'd like to thank some of our sponsors, the 5 Stride Skate Shop, the preferred shop of Bonnie Thunders, Deranged Psychobabble when she's on the track, Susie Hot Rod and Teflon Donna. Of course, CHE Sportswear has a new line of Derby lifestyle clothing. Check it out online, and while you're online, check out Blood and Thunder magazine. Issue number 18 and World Cup tickets are available right now. on their website.
On the line, the Dr. Hauschka Jam line, that is Deranged in the red, but the star gets a quick, easy move right there past Bonnie Thunders. Lead Jam, Rocky Mountain.
All 4 blockers on the track right now for Rocky Mountain. Only one against as Bonnie Thunders out there blocking for Gotham. Rocky Mountain able to get through. Deranged is up. How many points is it? Oh, 5 points. Grand slam. Brings us now 169 to 121. Another 15 seconds, I believe, left in this power jam. OMG was back on the track for about 5 seconds, going back to the penalty box, leaving Bonnie Thunders by herself. Deranged is through another grand slam. Wild Cherry standing, wearing the jammer panty for Gotham. She's out. Power jam is over. Gotham playing musical chairs in the penalty box right now, Bam Bam.
Plenty of time, though, for Gotham to make something happen with 1 minute and 10 seconds left as we have Deranged come through once again for that 5 points. She was able to get the ghost point before the jammer then came in, so it still counts toward the total when she gets through, hence the 5.
Wild Cherry just gets her initial pass through the pack. Deranged has time for one more pass. Rocky Mountain slows it down, shrugs off a hit from Candy Cakes, calls it off. And 3 more points for Rocky Mountain, making this a very manageable 169 to 134, but you're going to have to get some more power jams, and if you want power jams, you should get smacked by a roller girl. You can get smacked by a roller girl skates at rollergirlskates.com. And of course, if you want some fantastic customer service, check out Derby Supply on their website. They have the best customer service in the business, period.
Also, take an opportunity to think about, just for a moment, how much nicer this would be. Though, of course, you can hear our dulcet tones and see that little tiny free feed box. But if you want to get all the quality that you can, upgrade for $30 for the rest of this tournament to get the high-quality feed streamed right to your home. I know Sweden's doing it. I know Argentina's doing it. I know Australia's been doing it for a while.
And as long as you're on the web checking this out, check out 5 on 5 magazine, the official magazine of the WFTDA, 5 on 5, spelled out 5on5mag.com. And if you're wondering how you can get your league to the level of Gotham and Rocky Mountain, take your league to the next level with Skate Court Roller Derby Flat Tracks. Check them out on the web at Skate Court.
As we see again, we are at 3:11 in our second.
Now, folks, sometimes you can see in stats the impact that a single player can have. Deranged is plus minus the number of points that Rocky Mountain has scored when she is on the track versus Gotham is plus 50. She is plus 50. Rocky Mountain has scored 50 more points than Gotham when she is on the track. What an amazing impact of one player on this game. All right, so with 2 minutes, 54 seconds left, 169 for the women in black from Gotham, 134 for the women in red from Rocky Mountain. Who's that on the jammer line, Bam Bam?
That is number 55, Susie Hot Rod, big point score at 88. This is when you want to put her out, though. Triple Shot Misto is going to be her competition out there, almost at a point where she could be lead if she gets past Hyperlinks and hit.
She does. Out of play, forces Hyperlinks to let her go. Triple Shot Misto is lead jammer. Susie Hot Rod still in her initial passes. The pack is moving very quickly.
Triple Shot Misto has not been the biggest point scorer, but this is the time she needs to make that change happen. As they said, 169 for Gotham, 134 for Rocky Mountain. With 2.5 left to go, you're going to get at least one more jam, but you have to put points up on the board now.
Triple Shot Misto hits it, quits it, scores 4 points there. So 2 minutes, 13 seconds, probably time for 2 jams left in this game. Rocky Mountain very wisely saved a timeout, sends back to the jammer line. Who else? Deranged for Rocky Mountain going up against who else? Bonnie Thunders, as we see a very nice replay there of Triple Shot Misto coming around on the outside. And that was, I believe, Slady with a solid hit, forcing Triple Shot Misto to call it off.
But again, as you see Triple Shot Misto, one of those great competitors, she's just falling down, not even guarding her face. She's just got those hands to the hips that's calling it. That's the most important thing as we see jam starts very quickly. Bonnie Thunders trying to will her way around, gets caught up in the middle.
She does! Bonnie Thunders is out for lead jammer for Gotham Girls Roller Derby. Now this is where Gotham's so smart. They're going to try to run this jam as long as they can unless Deranged gets out, which she does. We'll see which way Gotham plays this.
Indeed, the first time Deranged in this entire half did not get lead, so this is exactly where Gotham needs to be as they are up only by 31 points. We've seen a 30-point jam in this game.
Bonnie Thunders takes a spill there on her own. She's quickly back up. Both jammers now coming into the pack. I believe Bonnie Thunders is just going to run this as long as she can. She is, as she gets through for 4 points. Deranged in the pack on a scoring pass.
I think, again, very smart. Bonnie Thunders just trusting her pack, also seeing that they had knocked her in. Good opportunity to burn that time, just waste some clock. As you said, you have a little bit of a cushion, but you cannot rely on that.
And D-Range going to the penalty box. Power jam for Gotham. Game, set, match, major track cut. Bonnie Thunders gets through for another 4-point scoring pass. Less than a minute left on the game clock. You think at this point, actually, Gotham, it would behoove them to call it off and preserve as much of the power jam as they can, because you're going to get one jam out of this game either way, with Rocky Mountain still having a timeout. And Bonnie Thunders is through for another 5-point grand slam. Checks the clock, keeps skating.
But, you know, it might also then be the smart play that Bonnie Thunders is right now seeing that there's almost a full box for Rocky. At this point, not only is she just using up whatever clock is left, but she's building that cushion.
Actually, what she's doing, if you check the jam clock, 47 seconds, period clock 5 seconds. This is about to be over. We're going to run out the game clock. Game clock is over.
Just double checking. Looking at her bench, Bonnie Thunders just, though it seems a foregone conclusion to the audience here.
Calls it off, 5 more points, grand slam, and your victors are the Gotham Girls Roller Derby All-Stars. Final score, 169 to 100, and I believe 39.
We'll get an update for you in just one moment, but Mr. Porter, I have got to say, we saw this game coming, and we never expected this to happen.
And you cannot say enough of the impact of the penalty box. Rocky Mountain fouls out 3 players, and that really was the difference. Unable to come back from the power jams that resulted from the penalties that put those players out. Now remember, folks, this is not the end. This is game 6 of 12. Coming up, we have Kansas City versus Windy City. Kansas City played, I suspect, the most exciting game up until the game we just saw so far when they defeated Rose City, going up against the #1 seed from the North Central Windy City. And then after that, we're going to see Philadelphia for the Philly Rollergirls versus Ole, and then the semifinals after that.
We are going to go to some sponsors, and John Madning.
Hello and welcome back. Here we are right after the conclusion of this fabulous game here at the 2011 WFTDA Championships here in beautiful Denver, Colorado. I am joined, Wild Cherry from the Gotham Girls Roller Derby.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, you like that?
Oh man, this is so awesome. It's amazing.
You were in there for 19 jams. You picked up 19 points, a good solid amount. How do you feel about your performance tonight?
You know, it was just an overwhelming experience to even step on the track. I got like all teary-eyed. It's just an amazing opportunity to be here on a national track, to skate with Gotham, like one of my dream things to do. So I'm even getting a little teary-eyed now. But it was awesome. I feel really good out there. I have a great team helping me out, so it was awesome.
Now that reminds me, you just came in from Tampa.
Yeah,
Transferred from
Tampa Bay Derby darlings.
Yeah, what would you classify the difference in play style, difference in practice style?
Skating with Tampa was just amazing, just starting up with them. They're always growing. They're doing a great job out there. Gotham is the challenge that I needed. I have a little bit of a skating background, so Gotham was the drive and the push that I needed to get me to the level that I'm at now.
Awesome. Now you had to buy the first round because you came in first in Easterns.
Yep.
How did you feel about going into that? A lot of teams like to have that first game day to kind of get a win in under their belts before they get into an even tougher game the next day. How do you feel about that?
You know, I think all season long we've been prepping for this game. I know that the girls wanted this game, wanted this big W so bad against Rocky. They've just been prepping for it. I think we took this as our first game. We didn't even think about the bye. We just knew we had to come in here one game at a time and just own it and take it.
Now you guys came out like a week early to get acclimated to the altitude, do a little high altitude training.
Yeah, we did.
Do you feel that really helped you out?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've been training hard all year long. You wouldn't believe some of the stuff that we've been doing. But running 4 miles in the hills of the Rocky Mountains, going up to Pikes Peak, you know, we've been doing everything to prepare for this. So definitely coming out on Sunday helped us a lot. Yep. We've been practicing with some leagues around here. Pikes Peak was very gracious to let us come into their house and help out with us and stuff. So it's just been an amazing experience.
Excellent.
So awesome.
And then later on tonight, you got Texas.
Yeah, one game at a time, baby. That's what we're doing.
Texas, the progenitors of women's flat track roller derby.
You know, it's just an honor skating against all these great women. It truly is. I know that we're going to go back, put our mental games back on, and just rest until we get there.
All right, thanks very much, Wild Cherry. I'm John Madden. Keep on watching more Derby action all the rest of this weekend here on WFTDA.com. Back to you.
Hello, I'm Desi Creation. I'm joined with Catholic Cruel Girl of the Rocky Mountain Rollergirls. Tough loss this morning against Gotham. Now you run and won against them historically. Was there anything different about today's game versus other ones?
Well, as everybody knows, the new thing this season is the jammer line starts. And we struggled with that at regionals because we just kind of wanted to boycott it and refuse to play it all together. And that didn't work. So we really focused on that, and I think we showed people that we are capable of playing that way too and being successful. Through the whole game, I think we exhibited amazing teamwork, and we gave 100% every jam, and it showed that we played with our hearts. All in all, it came down to penalties.
Absolutely it did. Now, penalties are always difficult to deal with, and being the bench manager, you have a special role in dealing with the revolving door in the penalty box. How was that for you today?
Well, Red Dye has been calling lineups for Fight Club for a couple years now, and so she's got that dialed in. She knows what to do when people are in the box, so we're really lucky to have somebody that's been with us for so long handling that. As far as my role as bench manager this tournament season, it's really about talking to the refs, getting clarifications, pointing out things that I don't agree with, even though I know that they're not going to change anything. Hopefully it just puts it on their radar a little bit more. And that's really all you can do. That stuff is out of your control for the most part. The best you can do is just deal with it mentally, which our team has struggled with in the past, how we handle our mental game. And I was really, really proud of our team today in how we stayed mentally strong and stayed in the game despite the penalty trouble.
Now, there might be an extra mental component to the fact that we're playing in Denver, so we're right near home for y'all. Is there any difficulties in playing near home?
No, actually, it's kind of a luxury. We, get to kind of sleep in our own beds and do our own thing. I would say the only difficulty is that, there's even added pressure that we put on ourselves to take it all the way in our hometown. So, of course, that's really disappointing. We wanted to win it for our home.
Well, fantastic. Came in and played like wonderful pros that y'all are. So thank you very much, Catholic Cruel Girl.
Yeah, thanks for having us. We'll be back next year.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.